I just want to let you guys know that I now have a second channel, which is called Lynn's Plays. The link to this will be in the description down below. Please go and subscribe if you just want to enjoy any content that isn't motocross related. It's going to consist of kind of let's plays, just funny moments with friends, anything that's not motocross related and wouldn't fit on this main channel. And without further ado, on to the video. What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I am on another 3D scan track on MX Sim. Now I was doing my homework, kind of scrolling through the tracks thread on the forums, and the sim forums do this cool thing where if a post is particularly popular, it'll put like a little like flame slash fire icon on the post, and usually those ones are the ones I keep an eye out for the most. Usually means that track's pretty good quality, a lot of people like it. However, this is one that kind of fell under the radar for me, and it's called Israel Sand. Now there's a little backstory behind it. It was made by the Bloom brothers. Yannick was the one who I believe kind of made it by hand, and then his brother, I think his brother's Nicholas. He didn't mention it at all, but his forum handle is MX Fish, and I swear I've seen something by Nicholas before. So please, do forgive me if I've got that wrong. Other half of the Bloom brothers, I do apologise. But so these two have made tracks in the past, 3D scan ones, and I think they made one or two before I stopped playing Sim first time round, which I really enjoyed. And this one seems to be just like that next step up, you know, next level, which I suppose if you do anything enough times, you are always going to kind of get better and better results as you go. Practice makes perfect. So this one is Israel Sand, and the backstory behind it is Yannick was kind of on holiday, on vacation, whichever you want to word it as, to Israel, and he was just kind of sculpting the track by hand in the sands there. Took a whole bunch of pictures on his phone for his brother Nicholas to then put in the game. I'm not sure the process that they used to kind of take them photos and put it in the game, but it's done a very, very, very good job. And I remember the kind of original one or two tracks, they'd look very, very good. Like this track, I think it looks really, really pretty, like very, very nice and easy on the eyes. The other tracks had exactly the same thing. However, there was always those slight little issues with the terrain, like some points being like really, really sharp, and it looks like they've kind of refined the technique quite a lot, which is really, really good to see. And I mean, I can see why it's such a popular post. It seems like good fun to ride. Very, very short lap times, but I imagine when you're making a track literally by hand, you probably don't want to make a track that's too long, like too big. I imagine that'd be quite a bit of a pain, and I suppose the more simple that you keep things as well, the easier it probably is to then put in the game after the fact. And I just think it's really, really cool. I mean, we all probably as kids, whether we kind of done it in our backyards, or if we went to the track to watch our dad or brother or whatever it may be ride, I guarantee you, we all as kids, we all kind of made our own little dirt tracks with our hands and used those like tiny little motorbikes to ride around, and it just kind of brings back memories. And it's I kind of treat it almost like people being big kids when you get to actually implement that into a game. It's really, really cool, and I'm sure that the technology will always be above me, how people actually get them in the game. It's very, very impressive to me. Some people probably not so impressive for. They probably know how to do it very, very easily. But me, I am not computer savvy in the slightest, so you could probably tell me 100 times how to do this, and I would still need to sit down and watch it over and over and over again before I even could comprehend the work that goes into it. So really impressive stuff. Now, my game probably won't look as good as some of you guys because I don't have any like reshade things on. This is just like stock game on higher graphics settings, so take it for what it is. You can 100% make things look even nicer. I mean, I'm hoping that the thumbnail for this is gonna do it some justice. I'm gonna see if I can mess around with things, or I might just straight up steal the pictures that they've used in the forum post, like the preview of it. That post as well, by the way, almost 13,000 views, which is pretty disgusting. So that one track post has got more views than majority of my videos, which is quite funny to put into perspective, I suppose. But it just goes to show that Sim's not fully dead just yet. It's still alive and kicking and well, and with this whole esport thing that's going on at the moment and being implemented, who knows where it might be going. Maybe it's going to go even further, maybe it'll stay where it is, but I feel like Sim's still got a good few years left in it before it completely vanishes off the face of the earth. What's the time now? So yeah, come December time of this year, Sim would have been out for 15 years. which again is a gross fact that it's probably older than some of you watching it, which just makes me feel old being bloody 26, and there's some people watching this are younger than the game that I'm playing. But you know what? We move. I appreciate all of you for being here, so thank you very, very much. Can I jump to this inside? Or I think that'd be fast, jump into that inside and then rallying that rut. But I had a quick scroll through the post to see what lap times people were running as well, and fastest I could see was like low 50s, so I'm a little bit off the pace. I feel like a 450 would be much more advantageous on this track than the 250. Not so much the jumps, because the jumps are quite small, quite easy to get over, but more so where it's sand, it's got quite a lot of resistance, and it lugs the bike down, slows the bike down a bit. I think the 450 would just be much better to power its way through. I would be interested to see how this track works with a road. I just feel like, you know, adding to that whole sand feeling of getting like really whooped out sections, kind of having to jump and double your way around turns or into turns over the braking bumps. That is something that me and a few guys in the Discord the other day managed to replicate. I can't remember the name of the track. It was one of JGMX's ones, but it was a sand one. And I'm not sure if it was just by chance or if JGMX has kind of gone through all of those different traction settings and made it develop in a certain way, but somehow we've managed to do it so the bumps were just that right size where you can kind of double your way into the turns. Then when you get into the turn and settled, you can just kind of put like bang on the power, flow all the way through it. And I think when the road works in this game, it really does work. It's just, I think it's very, very hard to fine-tune them settings, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, Sim was never meant to be played with a road. It was something that was implemented after the fact, and I imagine that the open GL like kind of engine that gets used definitely has its limitations. I mean, if I take round 1 of the Nationals the other day at Parlour for Fox Raceway, it was okay, but then at the same time there was some funkiness to it. You know, if nobody has kind of done it or take part in it, so there was a 40-man gate, obviously 30 minutes long. You get a lot of your road. For the most part, it's okay, but I know, without getting into too technical terms, because I know I'll do a very, very poor job of explaining it, apparently the terrain map wasn't big enough. So how it works is there was lots and lots of kind of just like sharp, like tiny sharp little bumps in for all the ruts and on the straights and such, and all it meant was you kind of wouldn't go anywhere. It was just, so it wasn't sketchy in the way of you was getting kicked all over the place, but it was just that little amount of chatter, so the back wheel was never truly on the floor. And on a 250 at least, it felt like you were just constantly wheel spinning. And I myself was trying to ride like a gear higher everywhere and kind of like bog the bike around the track just in hopes of getting some sort of traction. And I've done okay for the most part. I had silly mistakes that kind of let me down throughout the race, which I explained in yesterday's video, which I'm going to try not to dwell on too much, but I 100% do need some more road practice. And I suppose the only way of getting that sort of practice is to do more races, like the big 40-man races, or download a bunch of demos and start practicing against them a bit more, because the only one that I have done is that one on Matterley, actually, that I done a video of not so long ago. So I do need the practice, but I'm still also trying to juggle between sim and bikes, which can be a little bit difficult. I didn't play bikes for a good week or so, and I went back on it for yesterday's video, and I did not feel good. I felt so all over the place. Leaning right and left as well felt very, very odd. Obviously, there's none of that in sim. It's just forwards and backwards. Which is why, obviously, when I made the switch from sim to bikes in the first place, I didn't use left and right. I purely used forwards and back. Like if I move my analog stick right and left, nothing's happening. So yeah, very, very odd one. Which I suppose as well is something that I'm still confused on the sim side of things. Why something like that's never been implemented. I imagine it would be very, very game breaking. It would probably erase everybody's thousands of hours that they've got at this point and have to relearn it, but I don't know, maybe in the future it'd be something that needs to be looked at. I can't imagine kind of what else JLV's working on behind the scenes at the moment, this many years on. He's quite a mysterious man as well, is JLV. I don't know much about him. Obviously I know his full name, but that's about it. Don't know how old he is, don't know where he's from, don't know what he looks like, anything like that. So I have no idea kind of how old he was when kind of sim came into his mind. It's quite, I guarantee he didn't expect it to take off as much as he has, so it's really, really cool. And when you've got a game like this that kind of stands the test of time, it just goes to speak about the potential. Like I feel like I'm very, very much mistaken here, because I only really see the quote-unquote simulator side of the motocross industry at the moment, where I just really have no interest in like the the newer GP games or the newer Supercross games. But I feel like for the most part there's a lot more dedicated sim fans than there are dedicated arcade fans. And I mean, you just look at the Steam charts, for example. I think I've done that not too long ago. People hate me doing this. People hate me shitting on the new Supercross games, but I need to say it. I don't enjoy them, and you are allowed to enjoy them. You're allowed to enjoy whatever you want. It's just not a bit of me. And going back to yesterday's video on kind of the slump that I've been in recently, just in regards of enjoying video games, I can't bring myself to kind of record videos and put out things I don't enjoy, which is why I just really have been sticking with sim and bikes for the most part. Every now and then I'll go through Steam and have a look at some like free-to-play games or some lesser-known MX games, but they're nothing exciting. There's something that I can play for 5 minutes and then I have to put down. There's one called, oh god, what is it? It's like Engine Revolution, where essentially like you start on like a super old bike like from the 1900s and kind of slowly work your way up and upgrade stuff, and it's free to play in the beginning, but then it's got that typical thing of if you want to get like the best stuff in the game you have to pay with like microtransactions and stuff, and it's almost like a mobile game that's just been ported over to PC. And don't get me wrong, it is good fun. It's pretty decent. I was planning on making a video on it originally, but then I thought, whilst I can enjoy sitting there and playing it myself, it's not something that I can really bring over on the YouTube side of things. There's nothing that entertaining behind it. It's just like a good time killer, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's not much I can find. I mean, most of the motocross games nowadays, they're like 2D platforms, like side scrollers and such, and there's nothing right now that kind of meets my expectations. I know that Michael Hodge of the LCQ team, he's kind of found a new lease of life. The guys that were developing Chasing the Dream, I'm interested to see what he's gonna bring out. It's really cool to see him kind of back in action, and I know there's going to be a free demo that we can all mess around with in the near future on that. Obviously we've got Legends coming out towards the back end of this month. I'm guessing everyone's seen like the gameplay at this point. Don't know what to make of it, if I'm completely honest. It doesn't fill me with confidence, is all I'm going to say. And when I was watching Hangtown IRL the other day, and when you see like they do the adverts obviously in between races and they show off Legends, there was no actual like behind the rider third-person gameplay in the trailer, which to me worries me. That there wasn't even a whip, which I'm looking at it and being like, well, some people might think it's no big deal, they just didn't record a whip. But in my mind, if you are not having like any sort of in-air action in a motocross game, what are the physics going to be like? Because they showed them doing like a Superman seat grab, but they didn't show a whip. I don't understand that. That fills me with worry that the in-air physics are not going to be too great. From the gameplay I saw, it was like on a YouTube channel with some random like Japanese channel where with just raw gameplay and the bike's sliding all over the place. It just goes over all the ruts, it doesn't sit in them. And I don't try to be super negative with these new games coming out, but I really wanted to see something a little bit more exciting than that. Regardless, I'm going to download it and I'm going to give it a go to see how it goes. If I'm not enjoying it within the first 2 hours, that's why Steam's got a refund page, hasn't it? We will see. So that comes out at the end of this month, so kind of looking forward to it. Kind of feeling a little bit lackluster at the moment with what's to expect. I just want to give a quick thoughts on this track before I sign out on the video. I think the Bloom boys have done a very good job, and I always like seeing these 3D scan track. I feel like 3D scan tracks are kind of like my kink when it comes to MX stuff recently. I absolutely love them, more so because it feels like you're riding on something more real, if you know what I mean. There was, I don't know if it ever got like fully publicly released, but years ago before I quit playing the game first time round, I know Hunter Root and someone else, can't remember who it was, they took a full scan of, I think it was High Point, I want to say. And yeah, it was absolutely nuts, just taking a drone round, scanning the entire track, and I do think that is going to be the future of motocross games. I don't know how many years it's going to take, because I imagine that the equipment needed to do it all properly on a full scale to have access to a track like that, kind of privately, is nuts. But I don't know what the future holds. I'm excited for it. We shall see, and I look forward to more tracks like this in the meantime. So thank you, boys. You've done a very good job. Track looks great. It rides really well, flows really well, and I'm sorry that I keep crashing and making it not look very good. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do drop a like. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is you're up to. And until I catch you in the next video, peace.
I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing my life, I'm sacrificing my mind, I'm sacrificing my sanity, but most importantly, I'm sacrificing my time. Boy, I feel fine, I feel like I am a king. Honestly, I can't complain. Even with faith that's the size of a grain of some salt, I will still move a mountain and do what I want.